Thank you so much, folks, for joining in. So, it's been a long time that organizations are trying to evolve, right? There's a new way in which organization is coming up with their own marketing strategy, their own ways in which everything in a market starts working. So, the people who are seeing in a lot of platforms apart from LinkedIn, YouTube, and things like that can also jump on to the other things that I think the logistics will always be there for you when the stream happens. And yes, this is where organizations are coming up, right? Organizations now have found a way in which market is just going to evolve and market is just going to be there for them, right? Whenever the market changes, we all tend to evolve, and during that evolution probably there's some sort of missing that happens. What we miss out on the stuff which is really required in the market and things like that. So this is my topic. It's all about like how can organizations evolve the DevOps way, because a lot of times when Toyota production system was never thought to be leading in the market, everybody thought a production system was just defined for what an automobile was, what these things were actually happening. And a lot of things changed, a lot of things were actually evolving. And this is what we talk, right? This is what we talk in terms of where can we go out and get that right approach. So this is how I briefed my talk out, because I've seen a lot of startups evolving because of how they open sourced some of their projects and how the branding happened. It's all about that GitHub strategy that we go through, because you think of an organization as good as Microsoft, you think an organization as good as Google, the way that they do a knowledge transfer is completely different. It's all about like how do you put the chaos in the production environment and how do you resolve it. So it's basically stress testing that we just do on a cloud environment. It's an evolution that is happening back there. But through me, I think if I just summarize everything, I think it's been streamed to 4 or 5 different channels out there, where it's all about like brand building, open source, intersource, and the communities. Like it's also about like how does a developer platform and innovation evolve right now? How is it just going to be that one simple move that an team has to do in order to be one engineering system? That's what we always strategize towards. Like everybody is at a stake, everybody needs to be partnering with their own ways in which solutions are being architected. So to me, architecting something with respect to a developer platform and innovation is not just about just going out there and drawing something on an scrum board or just drawing something on an architecture or something. It's all about like where can that entire architecture go through an evolution. So that's what it's all about. And lately, when we think of something like security platforms and features, I intend to talk more towards the DevSecOps aspect, because DevSecOps is just not defined for any company. Like Oracle just does a huge amount of deploys every single day. Amazon does 11.6 seconds one deploy in the production environment. We are now talking from a transition from the pre-production, the test environments, and also thinking about the misconfigurations which have also happened on the cloud. So apart from that, everything has been pushed, everything has been learned. So it's all about like how can an organization learn frequently? Frequent learning that has to happen in an organization in order to be more sustainable. Because a lot of times when security is being talked in an organization need not have to think like, what, this is how security needs to be architected, because everybody has their own ways, every developer has its own way of communicating the security to the world today, and things like that. So of course we know that we still adhere to the fact that there isn't one engineering system strategy that is getting built. But apart from that, there are different developers, different mindsets, different leadership, the different way of communicating to the people. Roles of every people might not be defined, because you just scroll down on LinkedIn, you will find that people have certified this, certified that. Just imagine all that digital credentials is vanished for a day. And just imagine somebody sits for an interview and they go out there and they fetch out that something like, what, this is not opening. Probably this candidate is not legit. So this is how it is. This is how critical systems are. Any system, any problem statement, let it be serverless to the containerized application. It's all about like how can an organization evolve? How can an, let's say, okay, to a startup's perspective, how can a startup go out from being just architecting an entirely heavy lifting monolith system to an entirely non-configurable serverless? Like you need not have to take the configurations. So it's all about that. So let me just talk about the brands. Let me just talk about the open source, because a lot of times when you think of GitHub, why organizations are open sourcing their projects, why organizations coming up with their own strategies, why open source developer community on the planet, because GitHub is one of the largest platforms that you can really think about. There are 73 million plus active developers participating, 200 plus million private and public repos. That's getting rigged up right now, because these are some of the active repositories that you can think about. Like I'll show you some of the researchers who are still using GitHub. So data set has been collected. I'll just share you some of the hacks which an organization uses in order to fetch some of the open source data which is production grade. Because a lot of times when a production grade data is being talked, probably we talk in terms of the variability and the velocity in which it just flows inside a data mesh or a service mesh architecture. So there's a lot that we need to learn. An organization needs to evolve, and open source culture has been taken care. So, an 80 plus open source contributions in the projects from Fortune 500 companies. I'm talking about this entire operations which is happening right now here. When I just saw such a kind of an hefty workload system that is just being rigged up right in front of me, I was amazed, because a lot of times organizations never had a chance to move out. Because when organizations came out with one or the other strategies, there were only two ways that it could have had worked for them. Either they could have had destroyed that entire application which is getting rigged, or else there is an problem statement that they were never being able to solve. So a lot of time these things really happened. And also there are different ways in which applications have been rigged. Applications have now been given a platform, and close to any amount of contributions that you can think. Like it's like 2+ billion contributions plus years, 4 million plus organizations coming out and marketing themselves using an open source. It's at the scale. So inter-source contributions with GitHub, increased collaborations, breaking silos and COEs. Because I feel that COEs, the center of excellence, probably is going to destroy our developer culture. Because to me, when I see a Java developer, I just see, okay, God, where is he going to get the entire documentation of all these kind of different applications that we are moving towards? Or something like, how can I teach him what I did in Python? So a lot of things changes. So the next thing is always about developer platform. I always talk about developer platform because I think as a developer like me, who is in the DevOps environment, probably has a huge stake in security than an CISO. Or else I can't deny the fact that a CISO has the major role, but while architecting it, that's his responsibility to make sure that he has architected it the right way. But when it comes to developer platforms that we are now trying to evolve, I think probably I have a huge stake there. So it's all about that, everything at stake. Everybody has their own way in which they are working. Because in an organization, when I enter a new IT culture, it's all about like, when will they stop this? Like I always think like, when will my IT transformation in this organization stop? Because a lot of times, it's just like project managers coming out and saying that, what, we just need to evolve. An engineering manager comes and says that, what, we need to evolve our architecture. Something like, it's serverless. Can we make it much more serverless? Like, it's stupidity. When sometimes a containerized application is minting you money, and that is a stupid thing, because serverless is very, very costly to an extent that you have written a code which is not optimized for at the scale deployment. Probably you are going to kill that application tomorrow. Because tomorrow, when I think of something as good as and system architecture defined for something like, what, this is going to be my platform that I'm going to use and things like that. It's going to always be there for me. And that's what I always think about. You need to go out and just fetch that one source, or else it's going to be a little complex when we are just going out there. So source, build, test, deploys, monitors, everything. So you can see that this is a very, very, very complex rigging that I did on a slide, because a lot of times we forget to put policy in one of the main criterias when we are just thinking of a production environment, because governance and policy has a huge demand in the market. Everybody evangelizes, what, we are just going to put in a DevOps pipeline with a lot of gates, lot of workspaces, and nothing works, because a lot of times organization tend to make sure that, what, we are just going to evolve for the sake of it, or else we are just going to make sure that we are going to learn that application in that building process. It's going to be a little chaotic when we don't think at the scale. And also, let's just go out and just fetch out some more things. I think we'll be going through GitHub India as well. GitHub India people are coming in. We'll just ask them to just do out a lot of stuff. You guys can just share your own thing. So everything is important. Everything is take for all reasons. Yes, because everybody is a part of the same old product. Everybody is part of the same old production environment, which is still going to be a little challenging to handle. So let's yet get it started, because when I think of something as a security platform today, it's all about shifting left very frequently. It's all about everybody coming out, shaking hands, and saying that, what, we are going to be responsible for the security of it. And if you think it's something like you shift more early, you have to pay less for the redemption, because a lot of times this is how we can just quantify the comparison. Like, you have a source code build, the cost of the redemption is going to be less. When it just goes to the build process, the cost of redemption is going to increase, because a lot of times between the source and the build, test also happens in an organization. Because when I see how an, let me just say how an Amazon person just works with any of the production environment. Amazon person has no responsibility for your chaos that you have created. It's your architecture, it's your way in which you have rigged up the resources, and it's your way in which you are going to make sure that this application is going to work. And Amazon is just a part of it. Like back then we had the same old annotation, right? You just connect in hardware, put an IP into it, you just get those things sorted out, and this is how it is. So quantification, when it just goes to the build, that's where the chaos happens. At least there is a monitoring and observability strategy. Probably an early stage startup can't do that, because observability and monitoring comes at its own cost. Some are open source projects, but not to an extent where it can be completely reliable, because there are some code being pushed. Like, we still saw that Linux had 12 years of vulnerability which was solved recently, and that to me is very challenging, because we still use Linux, we still use the packages which are built on Linux, and we still use the latest versions of every little packages. But who knows who has that chaos built in? Nobody knew that it was lying in the same piece of the code for 12 years. Who knows that? So it's all about how I go through, because GitHub has some advanced security strategies that is always being there. So it's always about that dependency scanning, which is just going to be very fast in order to go through, because a lot of times when an organization comes in, dependency scanning is something which is looked back at. So we still have multiple base images in one Docker file, but in the same old Docker file, you can also be creating chaos, because that's just a manifest file which has all the control over your entire application. So keep all things in mind, because every time when an organization is trying to evolve the DevOps way, it's just going to be a little chaotic. Code scanning is always there, so we still do a lot of code scanning. It's basically something like we just geek out on something called as security, but we are strategizing in automating it. So we want to completely automate it. We want to completely build an application which is automated. So code scanning is always about how can we push a production grade code into scanning framework blacked out with industry leading code QL engine or anything like that. So it's not blacked, it's backed. Sorry for that. Sorry for that, folks. So basically, this is what we done from my side. So sorry for that. So secret scanning is always there. So scanning all of leaked secrets in the private or a public repository is something that we have done. I think I can show you one of the scan which really happened. I just pushed something on a Terraform environment and I was immediately being made. And I think this is the one. AWS secret. I don't know. Compromise or something. That was the mail that I got. Hmm. Compromise something. It was action required. Yes, this is the one. This mail really said me that you know what, I'll compromise this account. You know, it comes out with its ID, and this is unique at the end of the day. I, as an organization which comes out with strategizing, I still have my own unique identity, like who pushed the code, what really happened. And so this is what we call, right? This is what we DevOpsify the things. We make sure that everything is being automated. So it's more of an automation, less of an complexity that is being taken care from an organization's perspective. So this is how we evolve in an so probably some organization need not have to have a huge amount of strategy towards it, but simple moves make a humongous change in your entire pipeline. Like you can just rig up an localized version of your Jenkins build or a pool, and you can still go out and do a lot of stuff out there for the market. So keep a close eye on all these kind of applications that is getting built, because a lot of times it's all about that organization culture just getting evolved. So take a keen eye on this, because to me continuous integration, continuous deployment, continuous learning and monitoring is always that one thing. So of course you can think of Azure as an application which is doing that, but GitHub has its own strategy which is phenomenal. GitHub Actions. We'll be going out through a product overview of what GitHub is and what are the offerings which are there in the marketplace, and what are some things that an organization really can use today. So what is DevOps? So it's at the end of the day, it's a union of it. So we talk about continuous delivery here, but nothing is continuous at the end of the day. So everything is broken, everything has its own sparsity, and GitHub comes in the way of it, and it solves all the things. So you can do develop, plan and track, monitor and learn, operate, deploy, test, you name it, it's there for you. So this is how organizations also come up. And identity and disclosures are always there. So security has a lot of ownership. As a researcher, you can think of GitHub security labs or discover codecul. Also, you can think of security advisors or security database for the maintainers. You can also think of automated security updates, prevent with code kill. That's where developers come into the picture, because if you ask a React developer in my organization and a Flutter developer in somebody's organization, they are still going to do native development. But the style in which that build happens, the way in which we still, I think there are different applications which you can roll up with. Like there are a lot of things that an organization can do with, right? This is where a different perspective as a researcher, as a maintainer, as a developer, there are huge and a humongous market shift that is happening. But we still have that solved because everything is being optimized for us. So your journey in the evolving SDLC, like we still have that strategy in evolving SDLC, right? We want an SDLC culture which is just going to evolve. every single day. So keep a close eye on all these things, because a lot of times when an SDLC culture is evolving in your organization or else in my organization, the first question that we as a developer ask is that, can we make sure that our organization doesn't face chaos completely? Can we make sure that we still have that application up and running for 99.99% uptime? So, to be very frank, a startup is taking on a giant. So sorry, folks in the suit. Like that's the best part about it. So we are like the hoodie guys, the no color guys. You can name it the blue collar, whatever it is. We just make sure that we hit on the market at the right time and the right pace as well. So, so so you can also learn from the graybeard guys. These are the guys who are already the fossils in the industry. So always learn from them. So DevOps across Microsoft, you can think of uh, Azure DevOps as one of an organization strategy, right? When an organization migrates from an open source project to completely a privatized version of that application, there is only one strategy that we always go through. That strategy is always towards, like, what, how can we go out and fetch out the best of the best resources that we get right now? And basically this is what we do, right? So it's always that strategy that we are talking here. So I think you can just click on the stories here that linked in my slides. It's always there for you. So it's 160. That means that probably every organization has around like 1,000 plus accounts or something, and there are of course 160k plus organizations. Like, you can say them as contributors coming inside DevOps platform, which is offered on a private cloud or a public cloud, also an hybrid cloud environment. Like, you can think of Amazon RDS being used by hundreds of thousands of developers one single day, and there are 27k plus repos from, oh god, I don't know why I made this. It's not repost, it's repos from GitHub and Azure repos. Of course, all organization need not have to really have that open source repository. They can really give out the application as an open source application, but at the end of the day, when an organization is evolving, it's all about, like, where can that repository sit down without market chaos. So 10 plus million builds per month, 3 million plus git commits per month. That's pretty awesome, because organizations are evolving iteratively. So it's all about that postmortem that we do an SRE way, the site reliability engineering way, how you strategize your SLI and SLOs, how you strategize every little move that is happening inside your own projects. So there are 300k plus pull requests that is being generated at every given point of time. That 10 million plus work items created per month. So keep a close eye on that. Like, every test build process always has its own logs that is getting generated. There's a huge amount of learning that we do with the logs as well. So of course, the strategy of one ES and the GitHub is always humongous, because one engineering system that strategized from Microsoft or else GitHub or else any of the applications that you are just going to build probably is just going to have a huge demand. So you can close eye on a video from DevOps Enterprise Summit, because probably this entire thing that's just going to evolve is just going to fall down to one engineering system approach itself. So let's go to the next one. I don't have time for that. So in an organization, if I talk about culture and the DNA in DevOps, it's always comes back to, how philosophical that project is being handled, also how technical it is. So if you think of a problem statement such as self-driving car, it's philosophically fascinating. It's technically fascinating to me. So I think I have a slide on. Okay, you guys have a lot of questions, so just keep posting it. We'll just go out and we'll just get the thing sorted. That's not a problem. So make sure that it's there. I think self-driving cars. All right, it's driverless cars. Huh? I don't know. So driverless cars, I think. Yeah, I did a pretty great job by doing it. Well done. All right. Then the post can't have it. Where can I post it? Okay, I'll just make sure that the post will reach out to you somehow. All right. So this is my slide. I think there is. I can do a tiny URL for that. That's not a problem. So tiny.cc. Tiny.cc. Oh god damn it. Oh, it's very difficult when you're in an organization taking in a lot of things. Okay, so tiny.cc q86 ruz. Just go through that and you will be having a lot of things which are coming up. So I think I can put this in my draft and it will be there. So yes, so this is what we call it as a pyramid of pain. This everybody knows in the DevSecOps world, because we are now moving towards a dev star ops world, because every developer needs to know how to do an operations, because we own the security. So you can think of the paste layering, an amazing person, just go back, just cite those resources. We all have that nature, culture, governance, infrastructure, commerce, and the fashion. And this is where the paste layering is all about. So right now, so I think I can share you this article. So brands, Stephen Brand's success, amazing concept. Probably a little philosophical, but still has its own perspective in an organization, because we still have a nature of that production environment. We still have to know what's the culture of a developer space that we are going through, and we still need to have a proper governance intact. So value stream mapping, this is what we go through, because every single organization today, when we talk in terms of and DevOps culture involving humongous change, it's not Microsoft, it's not Amazon, it's not Google. Like Google owns the Dora, but they still haven't figured out an amazing Kickstarter project for the DevOps as well. Like they still have that amazing strategy. Like let me just give you an quick insights. You enter Google the first day, you're supposed to push the code to the production, and that's your knowledge transfer. And nobody will be helping you. Nobody will be helping you tinker around with the production environment. You just need to figure out a way to just go through that. So to me, when I think of such kind of an artifactory management, such kind of an annotation which is going through, a lot of things just changes. Like Netflix doesn't have and closed production environment. It just works just like a startup. Everybody has an access to a production environment. Everybody, like, when Dave Hahn, who is now in Apple right now, who is just rocking the world of DevOps there with GCP, which I don't know how he's doing that, but I don't know, like, probably Godspeed him. I can't really comment about it, but like when Dave Hahn moved from Netflix to Apple, there was a huge culture shift, but he's still evolving in that organization. But in Netflix, he saw how the organization evolved with the DevOps strategy, which came out from a Java application, breaking down into pieces, strategizing chaos engineering, open sourcing some of the projects. I'll be talking about some of the open source projects from Netflix as well. So keep a close eye on that. So a lot of times when Dave Hahn used to talk about the DevOps culture, which is just going to be there in the Netflix, it's an open production environment, and the incidents have typically not even happened once. Like you can think about it, not even has happened once. Probably some guy pushing out the code, the rollback strategies have really worked. But to me, when I see Netflix, it's all about that value stream mapping that we have already generated. So source A, source B, process A to process B, there is an information flow that is your artifacts, which is well annotated, and there's a material flow that is coming in. So it's in a form of a code, but it's still going to be pretty good. So of course, Misho has come out with their own strategy. We all still, as an freelancers, developers, we still have a plethora of people coming in from different environments. Like some people come in as an intern, they will just go out there, make sure that this culture in that entire environment is just going to evolve, right? That's what it's all about. So Misho has really given out work from anywhere. It's just going that in a permanent model. So you can think about like it's making sure that their project is as good as an open source project to some extent, but it's privatized. So culture is everything. So keep a close eye on it. So Tristan White, Culture is Everything. That's an amazing book. Please do read that. The turnaround, the ship around. It's a book which is written by an probably someone Simon Sinek, but like has really give out. But David Marquette was a captain of an Navy SEAL. You can really think about like how the communication used to happen, because everybody is an environment which is much more chaotic, and everybody is learning from every person. So I think probably the turn the ship around, not the turning the ship around, turn the ship around is one of an amazing book that I ever read. Everybody must read it. Please go read it, because a lot of times when you think of an organization which is not evolving, that's probably because the communication is not happening properly. You can get the things done in 3 hours. You can get the things done in 6 hours. It's need not have to be 6 days, 6 months. Bigger organizations have that problem. They can't communicate faster, they can't communicate quicker, and that's where the DevOps culture is. And okay, let me say you one thing. It's a conference. It's an arena where all of you are. You don't have an authority to say that this is what is happening in my company. That's probably might be happening in a tiny teeny little team which you have in your organization, but every organization has its own chaos strategy. So talk about that. So DevOps finally comes to all this. So as a DevOps engineer, or else as a DevOps enthusiast, you always think about how to collaborate and empower the teams, how to automate the stuff. And let me say you one thing. It's a lot of products that is coming out from anybody out there in the market, because everybody want to have that major stake, but GitHub has its own way. So I'm talking about an open source market which can be influential for an organization. So documentation, of course we love documenting things, and of course we have a huge demand for all the different things that we are just going through. Annotating artifacts the right way is what we are talking here. And there are some other products and features that is coming out from GitHub. So it's a lot of things that is coming out from an open source market in the for an organization, and for the developer community as well. So let's get it started. We'll just go out and we'll just figure out the ways in which we can look at all the products out there, and also we can talk a little bit on what is it all about. So this is how my GitHub looks like. It's a way more different compatibility that we can think. you know I search a lot on deep learning, so my searches will always be towards where's the reinforcement learning coming up. There's always a streams of data which we are talking about. I think this person Shreya Shankar is a PhD, so she always has good set of repositories coming in. And also there are different commits which are happening from different people. So WFDB is one of the databases for your welfare. So when you think of all these kind of an application, it's just going to be there. So React Native releases, yes, there are ways in which you can do that. Amazing amount of contributions happening. So for you, is still in a beta version of it, so it's just going to be there. Of course, Xiaomi is coming out with their own Maze, which is a deep learning interface framework, which is optimized for computers and the platforms. Like my mobile application can do a lot today than my laptop. So keep a close eye on all these kind of applications, because probably something as fog computing is just going to take over the market tomorrow, because cloud can't be completely reliable. Like to me, self-driving cars makes me paranoid. Like where can we start that onboard learning? So federated learning on edge is good, but federated learning at the scale is also good. So keep a close eye on that. So just push down to any of the repositories. I think one of my favorite people is Luciano, and he has been doing a lot. Of course, he's an author of the Design Patterns from the Node.js, an amazing book. You guys can go check that out. And you can see that there's a huge amount of resources which is already there. So you can think of GitHub India. I can show you that. GitHub India. All right. So github.com, GitHub India. amazing people have already contributed here. It's a long journey that has gone behind when open source communities can come in. So there are three pull requests which are already being taken care. So updated in the externship, somebody has externed something, the review required, and the CI pipeline has already rejected that pull request, and that will not be pushed. And you can think of the actions which are already there, because lately 2 months ago this repo had a push, and the next moment there was a push which happened, but it didn't get synced up. So this is how it is. Workflow has been disabled manually. Yes, if you are not maintaining that, the logs will be gone. So keep an eye on that. So this is how a wiki works. Wiki of this project is very unusual. You can just go out there and check out what is this wiki. But lately it's all about that readme.md coming out into the picture. All right. And also you can talk about the security. And here you can see the policy has been taken care very seriously. You can think about an organization coming out with this kind of a strategy, but it's now being automated. To me, when I think of the governance at the scale, policy at the scale, know, it's the same. Organizations need to evolve the right way by, I always talk this, it's all about that less amount of the plumbing that you do, more amount of the business strategy that you always move towards. Like, you have a good amount of money, shell out that, just build a good amount of products. So yeah, that's the best part about organizations. And also there are some insights about it. So one active pull request, yes, it's still being pending, it still is there. And the amount of folks and the staff this has happened, like, you can just put this entire repository on your GitHub and you can start really working towards it. So this is how an organization can also develop. Like, let me say one thing. There is a company where the CEO of that company is a part-time DJ. Good. But guess what? They still have an amazing open source strategy that is built through. Because every time when I see an organization coming out with a new strategy, the new strategy always goes through a lot of hiccups. Like, something like, probably the product managers or the chief product officer doesn't think this is profitable, but probably sometimes open sourcing it, running in a beta, running in a pilot project is just going to give them a lot of insights. So yes, that's how it is. So you can go out and figure out some of my repositories where I've done a lot of build as well. Onyx runtime, I think probably today morning we did something on Onyx. So that's okay. So there's Python fails. Demo app, I can show you this. Can you see the amount of pull requests? This was not done by me. This was done by a snake bot. And a snake bot really brought me all the information covering what is going to be my strategy towards solving that kind of an issue. So think about this. When you think of an developers sitting and doing this, probably there's going to be a huge amount of change, but probably this robot has done that work for me. So it's still the same old algorithms, which is not using any sort of a machine learning, but still uses the same old algorithm, just like a human, and it comes out and works for you. So see that there are two contributions happening. It's a snake bot which is coming up into the picture, and also there are a huge amount of commits which are really happening. I think last commit was done 18th September from my side. So it's still a private repository. I still don't have to worry about it. I think this is white source bold. I think there's a branch created for white source bold, and you can see that there is an white source bold being added for me. So this is an open source project, but I've leveraged it where I can still use it, and I can still go out there and figure out what are the different steps that are required for me in order to achieve my open source compatibility. So a lot of things change in an organization, so keep a close eye on that. I think I can show you this as well. Continuous machine learning. And you can see that different pull requests have their own way of working. All the pull requests failed, but one just got passed. And if I just go here and figure out what was that, yes, I've written something on a remote.md. I've just deleted that, and it really worked for me. What really didn't work in the previous one really started working out right now. So just keep a close eye on all these kind of an application, because all these kind of application that I'm just building right now in front of you probably might not be that efficient tomorrow. But tomorrow, when the organization is going to evolve at the scale, you require all these kind of strategies, but with an evolved tool set. So keep a close on all these things, because market just chooses to evolve. It doesn't wait for me and you. So of course, it just got verified by me, as well as it just got verified by GitHub Actions as well. So it's a thing that I just did. So there are different branching strategies that I went through, and I just wrote one CML file. And it's just 23 lines of code, cut, copy, paste from the documentation, and it just did everything for me. I need not have to do all the runs and everything. It just did for me. And I think so. I can do this reactor file. Yes. So a lot of times when an organization comes out with some strategy, like, you know what, I'm just going to do this, I'm just going to do that, it's never going to be this green dots that you just see. We still see a lot of red dots. Why am I opening all the green dots here? I just need to show you guys the red dots. All right, we'll just go to the last build. So it comes just like this. It's sparse sometimes, or else it's just going to be something like this. It's red, 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 red every single time. Like this is how organizations are, right? It's always that shaky environment. That variable is just going to be taken care here. Keep a close eye on all these things which are happening in your organization, because a lot of times you might have upgraded your production environment for one set of an application. Probably somebody out there has not updated it, and that's a chaos. That's chaos at the end of the day. So keep a close eye on that as well. And I think, of course, packages are always, so you can do a lot of packaging. The releases can really happen or seamlessly. Of course, there is one watch, that's me, and there are 0 stars, 3 forks. People can start forking this application and see the builds which are happening. So you can go out there, integrate with different applications as well. So it's all about that one strategy that you just down here and just go with your application. So yeah, that's how it is. And keep a close eye on all different applications that you're building right now. Probably this is going to have a huge amount of change. I think there is an question saying that where can we go out there and figure out which solution is the right one. There's no right solution. Every organization has its own way. Like, we come here, we talk, we could just go out, but guess what? We would have done hundreds of things. Like, we would have faced chaos in such a way that we want to just get rid of this application. But that one haha moment says that, you know what? Just calm down. Just make sure that your organization evolves, because that's what astute leadership is, right? It might be philosophical, but DevOps, the scrum master come out and he just put in that tickets for you. You just go out there and plot some, but we just CVE the tickets as well, right? We vulnerability, we make sure that we strategize towards that. How can we build the best application out of it? So that's what we do. I think you can see my Docker hub. There's a huge amount of application that we have already built in. Vishwas Narayana Ari something. I forgot my username, password. God, speed me. So Vishwas Narayan. All right, Vishwas Narayan. I hope this works. Oh, all right. You can see how different applications are already built in. So yeah. So none of these were done by me. Most of it was taken care by the already available applications. I'm just using it. So simple as that. GitHub Actions Docker demo. tag name. Yes, it's already there for me. So tag names were already generated from GitHub, and I still use the same old GitHub Actions to build it. Simple as that. I didn't do much of the work. I hope the logs are here. I think so. The logs are here. I think logs are here. All right, the logs are here. So we still know that Toyota production system had an end-on card mechanism where if nothing starts working, you know what, entire production system lays down. But to me, the fact that every 3 seconds a car was being pushed out of from that factory, to me that's amazing. You know what? That to me at the scale production environment, that to me at the scale uh, deployments that we are talking about, that really fascinates me. Like, we need to learn a lot from a production environment of Toyota, right? This is where we all strategize towards that same old and on card mechanism, which was mechanical, but we still write in a form of an YAML code. So this is how it is. So I just say fatality is low or high, and my production system stops, and then none of the code will just get pushed. And somebody wrote this entire GitHub Actions package, and I'm still using it. So that's the best part about it, right? When organizations didn't know what to do, they just said, you know what, we'll just go out there, figure out our own ways of working. That's the best part about it. So now, if I think, where are the different things that are moving there? So let's just talk a little bit of, what do you say? Hmm, scanning done, but like, what do I need now? All right. Sorry, folks. Today was a little chaotic because a lot of things changed. A lot of things changed. All right. This is just a build command, right? I have used two different branches here. I think one, two, three, four, five branches out there. Five branches, yes. Main branch, Circle CI project setup. It doesn't work. The Circle CI project doesn't work. That doesn't mean that my main branch doesn't work. My main branch has its own way of working. So that's how it is. So my localized packages get installed. My Azure pipelines still run the same old way. If I had connected my Azure instance, but I don't have it because this is an open source project review that we're just doing right now. So we need not have to do much of it. I think wide source has been installed. What more can I talk here? Okay, generate documentation. We all need that, right? We update something, we want it to be generated, and see the magic of it. So generated docs are already being taken care. So this is how we wanted, right? We did some sort of an updates, we did some sort of an push to the code, and the production environment started working and things like that. This is where we are generating the docs because we want our artifacts to speak when we have a chaos. Because a lot of times when we do an SRE, it's all about how we do a post-mortem of that failed build. So a lot of times when the fail build happens, it's all about like, where can that entire application go out of, right? Like, probably the network went down, the code went down, a lot of things are changing. So keep a close eye on everything. And also, I think this is the end of it. And I think the next speaker is just going to talk about a lot about organization culture, an overview of an entire thing. So you can copy this entire thing. Where is my god? All right, we can copy a lot of things and you can start working towards it. And that's it, folks. That's the end of the thing. I think the next speaker is just going to be here. Well, I think just get everything rigged up. Of course, Tytrivi has also done its own scans here. You can do the scanning. I think it's going to be still the same old vulnerabilities that it just got listed out. Yes, it's still the same old vulnerability that has been taken care. So you can see how the discussions have already happened based on all these kind of images. So discussion is one of the best part about it. So the projects, if you go, you can see how the projects have already been initiated. The roadmap of that entire projects have always been taken care. So every organization today comes out with its own things. So everything about researching to the done has always taken. So it can be still doing, in progress, done, or something like a backlog, in progress and done. This is how make sure that our organization knows where we are facing the chaos, and this is where we learn as well. So yes, I think that's it from my side. I think I need to wait for the other speaker to hop in, and I'll be away. So yes, so a lot of things. I think you can mail me, you can just drop a LinkedIn message saying that this is what it is, and this is the docs for me, and this is my GitHub repository. Yes, that's it. I think thank you so much, sir, for being part of this thing. I think you can share the screen, you can go ahead with the demo as well. So yeah, that's what you planned.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so actually my build was still running, but yeah, let me show my screen. Share screen. Okay, hi, good evening, folks. I hope Vishwas, you were having some put with Vishwas in the GitHub, all
Yeah,
those things.
yeah.
I hope. Yeah, Vishwas, just confirm if you my screen is still visible.
Yeah, it's visible. I think you have shared the complete screen, right? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm just okay, just ensuring that. So yeah, so good evening. So today we are going to talk about the in and out of Azure DevOps. So like Azure DevOps is second most popular tool in when it comes to the DevOps as a term, like releasing like automating your builds. First is Jenkins, that's remained the same. Second is the Azure DevOps, which is predominantly used to deploy the automated build, release, and pipelines. So today I will be walking you through, trying to cover each and every component, starting from the organization level till the project level, till the build and the release. And we'll probably also try to what you are running seeing as of now is probably I will also try to go some demo in the release gates, how it's been done. If it's not deployed also, don't worry, I have pre-configured projects and releases where I can show how to configure those gates. So that's a demo part, like demonstration on the release gates, quick one. But yes, to start with, yes, let me go to the scratch from scratch. Like this is pretty much your Azure portal, and when you see dev.azure.com first time, right? Is this like you might have access of this portal.azure, beginning from the subscription, because DevOps as DevOps portal can be accessed when you have your account created here. It's a fundamentals, while like it's covered in the fundamentals, the live ID, right? And you have a pay as you go subscription, right? So on top of it, because everything is based on Active Directory, your pipelines will communicate to your infrastructure, which will be deployed in the Azure cloud, right? So this is your the subscription pay as you go, which I'm having, and I have provisioned couple of resources for the quality case demonstration. So these is the baseline, and if you see, this is the Active Directory, Azure Active Directory, where uh, we will because everything which is deployed for Azure to communicate to infrastructure, there needs to be some authentication authorization, right? That is happening through the Active Directory. So and then we need to create a service connection, which wherein we need to authorize our builds to access the tenant. So this is the tenant and the subscription. So tenant ID is my this one. And very very good questions are coming up when it's been asked what is the difference between tenant ID and subscription. So tenant ID is belong to a organization. I can quickly cover the fundamentals of Azure directory as well, because that's very important. So tenant is a big it can be an organization, and then there could be multiple subscription under one tenant, right? And this is my tenant ID, and my subscription ID which you just saw was a different one. So it's all based on Active Directory, like the managed connections, the service connection. Because I will see you we will see the walkthrough how it's been authorized and how it's been linked. So with the sample which we I have configured. So this is the baseline for this one to communicate to the your infrastructure, right? You provision your infrastructure, you provision your web apps, right? You configure provision your storage account. All those things you can do with the help of Azure DevOps, right? So when you have this subscription, right, you can do anything when you are logging to www.azure.com. So let me go to the from the scratch, right? Azure DevOps. When you search here, this will come like Azure DevOps services. So this is the cloud version. You can also have a DevOps services, and then you can have a DevOps server as well. So this is the cloud version of the DevOps, which we are having. Sorry about that. So if you go to Azure DevOps services, so a little history behind Azure DevOps. Prior to it, it was called Visual Studio Online back until September 2018. Then Visual Studio Online was converted into Azure DevOps in September 2018. The new name was there, so Azure DevOps. It was previously Visual Studio Online. So this is the this is the portal which you will get, right. You can even start with your GitHub account, which I think my friend Vishwas covered on the earlier part of the session. You can even start with the account which you are already having with the GitHub. GitHub, you might have creating repositories as well, right? You can, because you need to commit source repository and start developing pipelines from there. So either you can do from there, or you can start as a free, or you can, if you have already an account, you can go to sign in Azure DevOps. So this is if you see the previous, it was showing red Visual Studio because it's been derived from there. See, if you see here the visualstudio.com, right? Because this is derived, this is derived from the Visual Studio, this thing, the tool which is used for the build and release, right? So previously when you say Visual Studio, right, this was the tool which was used, Visual Studio, which is 2022 now. And then directly the story started with this tool actually, Visual Studio code. And then Visual Studio, and then it's just a sample solution explorer. I'm just trying to open a sample one. So this is like where we used to manage Git, commit the branches, right? And then once you select this, you select a repository. And once you sign in, even I need to sign in this one. So once you sign in, add to source control. When I give adding to source control, right, it's asking for sign in. See, Azure DevOps existing remote local only. This all started from the Visual Studio, this tool. So probably I have not committed this thing in the my this thing. Also, let me sign in and to my Git repository, and this is how it looks like. So this all started from this tool, which is called Visual Studio, where you already check in your code and do the push. So push to a remote repository if you are already having GitHub. Since I am having GitHub, I will try to push this digital twin, this thing sample to the the tool, right? So this is owner is like, let me try to sign in. So I will sign in with in front of with my GitHub account. Yeah, it will take in to my sign into the Visual Studio account. So let me, yeah, this is the one. And then let me sign in and show this one. So it's asking me to authorize the Visual Studio by GitHub. So it's trying to sign into my GitHub account, right? So this is uh, when you want to access. So these all things will be accessed with my this Visual Studio, which I've just opened. So I will authorize GitHub. Now I will authorize this up, and this is localhost. This is my localhost, which has been pointing out to. So this is yeah, this is the local host. So I'm just authorizing GitHub. so that I can commit my things in the. This all started. I just want to go some back in the history and show you. So this authorization is successful. Then probably I can also now. You can now return to the Visual Studio. So it says I can now return to the Visual Studio. So it's my repository has came Tari 87. So let me go to the previous my GitHub repository. Let me show that as well. I don't won't cover a detailed part of it because I believe Vishwas has already covered that. Let me sign in just to show you. It's the same one. Okay, let me not go to here. I will just because it's already logged in here. So let me GitHub right GitHub login. I will just yeah sign into GitHub. So I think because it's already logged in. Yeah. So this is if you see this is my the GitHub repository, right, where I will be pushing the changes. So this is what it is. A Tari 87, and then this the repository name would be sorry, A to D end-to-end sample repository name and description could be this digital twin advanced demo. Like I can I so you can do a you can put some name. So it is a private repository or public. This is again an important step which I believe again Vishwas might have covered that. So I've just create and push. So this is about this how it started. You can even push to a Azure DevOps, right? And your organization and project which you have to give, right? It's already logged in. So if you see my organization will be already listed here. So probably I can like this can be pushed here as well. So if you see all my organizations are coming here. If you see this is the one, all my organization DevOps, I showed you, right? DevOps POC, I have three organizations. So I will cover about more of the organizations. So DevOps POC and all these things are being shown. Either you can commit to Azure DevOps, right? It will go to the Azure repos, and then it will go to the project also. You can configure with the project also. So this is to an or a local account, but this is mostly the two of the things. No, because this was pending one, so I'm trying to push this to my GitHub because this is a working code. I wish I could have done that in previous, but unfortunately was not able to do. And add a README file. You can add that README file as well, and then I will do a create and push. This all started. Uh, Update on close. Okay. Update on close. Okay, fine. So it's see, it's pushing the code, right? Create a repository started. So when I go to this one, it it might be when you go to refresh, it will be pushing the code to the to this thing. So show more. Let me click on it. So I think it will push the code and probably the digital twin one will be published here. So once it's there, I think then yeah, this is the one, right? It's still trying to push. I think yeah, it's pushing up. So I think it's almost ready. So it's pushing up. So I think it's adding the files, right? So this is the this is how it started. That's how the origin of like it started, like committing your local code to the GitHub repository, and then even it can be exposed to Azure DevOps, which we just saw. So this all started from this tool. So this tool was Visual Studio Online. In the online also, it was Visual Studio Online was the URL which I showed you. In between, it was coming right the redirection URL. So that was the original one. Then came the dev.azure.com, and you can push your branches from the or repository from the dev.azure on like from this tool itself. So pretty much, if you see here, it is the end-to-end sample, and this is connecting to the AUT app sample, and this is the master branch which has been created. So you can even create new branches and push my changes. So this is like commits which when you perform. So this is all. Just want to show how it started, right? And even you can pull their code into a local machine also. So this is the in the this is called the Visual Studio tool. So this tool would be needing. So the gets your hands on with these kind of tools, right? This is very much necessary, and this is all. You need to register for a license. This is currently linked to my pay as you go licensing, right? So so I'm paying for it. So that's why it's coming, and I'm able to do. Otherwise, it's not a free one. So yeah. So this is the couple of things about it. This is important. And one tool which you need is Git Bash with Git Bash for Windows to run your repositories. You can create a repository, a directory, clone it. All things you can do with a Git bash. It's a interpretation of the, you can play with the branches, create new branches from here. So this is, if you see my code, I think it's already pulled up, right? So if you see a refresh, so it's almost done. So one watching, so I think it would be probably yeah, me only. So this is it, on the pushing part and the how it started, and then now we will move to the Azure organizations part. We have uh, three organizations which have been created. First, when you log in, right, there will be nothing. You have to create organization. Organization, you see, could be the company where you are working, could be a test scenario. It's a big it's a outline structure, organization, and then there are multiple projects under it. So it's that's how it is like in organization. When you go to Azure DevOps, so this is one of the organization settings. This is how you can give have an overview of the you can see about this organization, the privacy URL, the projects under this organization. There are multiple projects which I have configured. This is the process like Scrum, Basic, Agile, which model you are following. So they are this comes under the what you say the Agile framework, right? So Scrum, your project is or organization. This again depend on the organization, whether it's following the Scrum, whether it's following the Agile, right? So this is like all the projects which are configured under it, showing like, and you can also create a new project with this name, description, and the public or it's a private project. Or if you do advanced, so if you do a private project, right, Git version control is a TFS or Git. Now here comes the two things. If your components are hosted in cloud, right, then it will be a Git. Otherwise, if it's on premise, then it will be a TVFS, TFVC, which is Team Foundation Version Control, which is the on-premise version. If your repository is on-premise, then it will be Team Foundation. If it's in cloud or a hybrid one, hybrid or multi-cloud, it will be a Git. And the Scrum process, this is altogether different topic like Agile, Basic, CMMI, Model, or Scrum. So this is you select for the work items. Work items when you run a Scrum meetings, right? So there you will see those work items processing being done. So this is you can just cancel it, and then this is how you provision a project under the organization. And users, right? So this is very important, guys. Like when you add users, those, so there are three kind of access levels: basic, stakeholders, and visual subscriber. So let me go just access levels in uh, organization level. So this is, I will just about access levels, what is it, I will explain you, because this is very important one to get started. Otherwise it may get skipped. So so there are three. See, they are basic, they are stakeholders, they are Visual Studio subscribers. Basic, stakeholders, Visual Studio subscribers. So basic, if you see, assigned to users with a Visual Studio test professional or emergency subscription, right? Basic means provides access to the most features, access to Visual Professional subscription, and to user who are paying for basic organization. Stakeholders can be assigned to unlimited users for free, provide partial access to private projects, and mostly full access to public projects. And assigned to user with no license. The guys who don't have Visual Studio subscription, those are assigned by default stakeholder permission. And this is Visual Studio subscriber. So to access CIE pipelines, all those things, right? The repositories. Then in that case, you need to have this subscription, Visual Studio subscription. This is a very important thing, which I think to while you are going through all these things, you should uh, I think be ping. Uh, Pushpas, how can I share the URLs in the between? We share. Okay, let me. I have got the link. Okay, so this is the access levels which we have to explore. Right, these are the access levels. Where person with a stakeholder, we by default we assign stakeholder permission, which have the basic to basic subscription like access, but doesn't have all the access. So that there we assign a stakeholder permission. So and the Visual Studio subscription has the access of the pipelines, the deployment pipelines, release pipelines, all those things. So just read about it. It's very important for to onboarding anyone. So it's a user which you have to add basic, its live ID or the organization ID, and then basic like stakeholder user subscription, or add to projects is like I can add to your project, and I can see probably if yeah. So like if can even I can add Vishwas his mail ID where he has a live ID, and the basic and stakeholders permission, and the project which I want to give him the access. So that's what how it looks like. Billing is like if you want to, so this doesn't require anything until unless you're going for parallel jobs, right? Hosted parallel jobs, paid parallel jobs, then only you need to go to this. For my case, yes, I have this parallel jobs configured. I can pay for parallel jobs if their workloads is more. When you define a pipeline and require more for on-premise self-hosted, right, you can have a parallel jobs. And this also use like a difference between a self-hosted and Microsoft hosted agents. So just go through it like what is it, and then let me know if any doubts here as well. So so this is like some of the links, key links, which we have to see. Setup billings. If you see when it's a paid parallel job, we have to configure right. Then it will go to the your subscription billing page, and it will add to your subscription billing. Free tier limits. Just want to show like with your CI/CD pipelines billing, like you can go before you're configuring the build jobs, right? You need to go to this article and see like what is the difference between daily and prorated, and just go through it. Like if you see how can I stop paying for user who are actually using Azure DevOps, that also I can see. I can change the billing FAQs. This is not that much important because this is, I think, you don't need to configure these things. And the boards representing test plans are free. This is the parallel start free trial. You can go to the free trial page and access basic and users. This is the links. Links are also given. So manage paid access for users. For if you are having more than five guys, right, in your team, then you can go for a paid access for the users. So this is the billing that you need to follow, because in a scrum there could be multiple developers or QAs or the testers or the DevOps guys, right? So for those we need to have a license. So this comes the licensing part. So this is the about, it's all about licensing, like if you want to add for new persons, right? So that's how it is. Vishwas, like to have a pause here. Do we have any questions in the meanwhile? Yeah. So so this is all about this is all about the organization. I'm still in the organization. So in the global notification is like if any changes happens, right, in the organization of the project level, then if you want to receive email, right, like subscribers can be your email IDs. You want to add a new subscription, or you get a default subscription, so you want to view like who is able to view the notifications, like if any changes happens to the builds, right? So who should get the the mails, right? So this can be configured from here. So as of now, I'm the user, so I can be the subscriber. So this is like build completes, I should get view as of now. Let's see the view page. See, requested for, so who can receive the mail? So build completes, who should receive the mail, and this one like notification. This is notification, global notification. This is related to the global notification of the organization. And any pull request changes, then notification should be pushed to the email subscription which we have provided. And these are the automate queries which have been there. Usage is again the usage, like how it's been used. Extensions, now this is very important thing. So see, whenever if you are using Sonar Cube or a Kubernetes extension or a lease management, you can go to the marketplace. If you want to install anything, like if you want to install Sonar Cube or anything, or release gates, you can install, or anything for code quality profiles and These are the market Visual Studio extensions which are available in Azure, this thing. So you can just have a look. So this target ID, this is belongs to my, I think, subscription. That's why. So this is a extension for Azure DevOps, and you can have a Sonar Cube also. Sonar Cube. When I search for this, you can install this extension in your Sonar Cube is came right now. We can have different things testing for. We can have Selenium as well. So just I want to show you the extensions like which are third party extensions. Selenium. If you want to install Selenium, then it can we can have those things as well. And if you want to install, for example, Terraform, right? So this is also available. Third party extensions, right? To deploy to automate your infrastructure pipelines, infrastructure code. So this is all about the extensions. So this is like as of now in this organization, I have these many extensions enabled. So this is the extension and requested. If someone in your organization has requested, if you are the owner of the organization, then this request will come to you, and then you have to approve it. Then comes the Azure Active Directory. Yeah, so if you, yes, you have to prove it. So Azure Active Directory is the other thing. Like if you want to connect your Active Directory right to the Azure DevOps, then you can connect your directory. Then this is like if you want to link, it can be linked connect directory. And then policies, if you want to route third party access to via OAuth authentication. So you can learn about more about this Active Directory, because Active Directory is very important for change applications, connection and security policies for your organization. This is very important, I believe. Like policies which needs to be looked into. Like there are different kind of policies, like OAuth, SSH, PAT. Like how these are the ways to connect to the authentication. OAuth is an SSH and the PAT. This is also very important stuff to just have a look into it. So while I yeah, so this is also one of the important thing which you can look into it. And then permissions, right? The permissions. So now this comes a very important thing, right? So these are the 9 permissions which are very important. Let me go to project collection or project level Azure DevOps permissions. So I'm sorry if it's yeah. Azure Dev organizations permissions. So security groups, and this is the also one. Project build administrator. Read about this, like what all it covers. This covers the organization permissions which is it's having. These all the permissions like project collection administrator, which is like this description is also member, like member of this application who can perform privilege operation the project collection. Build administrator is one, people who should be able to administer the build and resources. And then we have build service accounts, which will probably members of this group, which should include the service accounts. And then proxy service accounts, uh, use a proxy setup for this team project collection. And then different values, you by default it's a valid user, which where the people have been added, project valid users. So by default access which is given. So and these are the couple of groups I just pinged about it. So just read about it. Process, when it comes to process, it's just the agile, scrum and CMMI, right? uh, there are different methodologies. It's a altogether different topic. You have work items also, right? Like whenever you run a scrums meeting, then you have epics, user stories, features, right? And task and requirements. So that's come under these are templates. Actually, these are the templates, basically agile, scrum and CMMI. By default it's mostly the scrum or agile which is being followed. Some places it's follows CMM also. It's altogether different aspect. But if you want to learn more about it, like You can also, like, if I go to help, I think it should list me all those things, like create and manage identity processes. So yeah, I think this is you can just inherited processes, learn about this one. See, all things are covered here, like in the processes which we want to establish, agile, CMMI, all together. It's a different topic, but still it has its own. Now agent pools, when it comes to agent pools, so we have two kinds of like agent pools, we have default agent. You need to create a ad pool, select an agent pool, self-hosted or a self or a Azure machine learning skill set, or it's a, see, we can learn about this agent pool, what is agent pool and its types. So just because this, it will be good if I can explain what is it as your agent pools. And see, agent pools is like we have two types of agent pools. One is the self-hosted, and one is the Microsoft hosted. So self-hosted is that which we create external VM to run the builds. So, but in that case, a lot of manual efforts are required to maintain that VM. But in case of Microsoft hosted, it's provided by the Microsoft itself. It's in the cloud itself. So you don't have the overhead of maintaining those maintenance. You don't see those. Microsoft will take care. So so this is about like you can just go through what is it, the Microsoft hosted agents and self hosted agents. You can just have a look into it. Uh, Sorry guys, it's raining, so sorry for the power interruption if it happens again. I can't help. So yeah, so settings is again a lot of deployment pools, like we, when we configure environment specific pools, right? Production, dev, then we configure these deployment pools. So then we configure the new deployment pool for this which project we want to create, and then it will start creating this. Security is, yes, you need to by default it also follows the DevOps also follow inheritance rule, like from the top up to whatever inheritance, right? So it follows the inheritance in the active directory. So deployment pools is related with you when you configure pools, agent pools specific to the environments. Like for the, if I trigger dev environment build, right, it should allocate it to the dev deployment pool, and then production, and then the stage. That's how it is. Parallel jobs, as I was explaining, this is like if you see there are multiple triggers which you have configured in those scenarios, and very heavy workloads. And as of now, if you see currently 11 minutes I've utilized out of 1800 minutes. This is a threshold, 1800 minutes. So if you exceed this Microsoft hosted this thing, then you go for self-hosted and parallel jobs. So 1800 minutes is still free to use. This is a very high, number. You, even I have not reached this number, but for some scenarios I required this parallel job. That's how I've configured this. And then we can go to OAuth authentication, click and OAuth configuration, which we can configure. So OAuth client configuration, just read about it. I think I have given. Now comes the repository part. So this is just to, so this I explained about earlier, right? If you have the Visual Studio subscription, then only you will be able to see repository. Otherwise, you won't be able to see it. The basic with the stakeholders access, you won't be able to see it. Artifacts, again, it will be stored in a storage account that's again in the cloud. So if you see, storage pricing is also there, like how many drops packages. See, this is like it's stored in the cloud basically. Or alternatively, when you configure a self-hosted agent, then this artifacts will be created in the your working directory of your agent pool. So that's a different scenario, an advanced scenarios, which probably it will cover in the forthcoming sessions. How we configure self-hosted agent when we cover those things. So if you see for artifact storage, to store artifacts, we need a storage account, right? So this internally managed by Azure in the cloud, and storage pricing and reduction and bin analysis that also covered here. This was all about organization, and now I will go through the already pre-configured pipelines, and Yeah, those aspects. So this is like about Azure DevOps organization. Now I will go to the see these are different kinds of projects which I've configured here. So this is like release gates demo. So this is all those things like overview, summary, some dashboards. Dashboards will come into picture when you see when I create my own team, right? So if I go to boards, I think I should be having. So this see this is the bug which I've created. So already configured. So when I configured this project, these things were already there. Like the three teams, board columns, this when I configure this release gates demo, this is already configured. So what today's demo, what I'm demonstration which I'm planning to cover is like on the release gates. Release gates is not is a sub-specific topic, but I will just go through it. So I have just forked a repository. Probably I can share the link with the repository which I have forked. I hope you are familiar. I think there are a couple of sessions done by. So these are the basis. Probably the release gates. We'll just go through it how it looks like. Uh, so yeah, so we'll just go through it. So which first, do we have any questions till now before I move to the project level details, the
No, no,
repositories
there's no
and
questions. There are no questions. I don't have my internet today. I'm also in front of my neighbor's home.
okay, yeah,
Sure, you can go ahead.
yeah. It's raining here as well heavily, so if any power,
Oh God, lot of things when we do a lot of live events, right? This is the problem with this.
yeah,
So I think
not
tomorrow
sure.
onwards we'll
Yeah.
be going for the StreamYard only. Restream will not be using.
Okay, yeah, let's see, but hopefully net internet is still there. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's
so
still there. Still there.
yeah, that's a good part with the UPS thing. Yeah, so yeah, so this is like the boards, right? You see the boards are release gives like this is the release demo team boards which have been already been created. Work items you run with the stories, features, right? So viewers backlog. So this is you run a Scrum meeting. This is how you run a Scrum meeting typically. Iterations you have, so features and those things, and you add a work item, create a query, new work item, and then you create a user story. That's altogether a different topic actually. It's a topic in itself. Then we have sprints. You have the queries, and then you have the repositories which are covered here, like parts unlimited is the one, and these are the NuGet repository, and we have commits, and it shows you the last commit which has been done here, and this is the name of the persons who have committed. And then push is like when you push the changes. This has been I just pushed, right, this one just a few minutes back. So as far as checking the push and the branches, I don't have any other branch, but I think master branch is what I have. Tags, because I've put like if you want to create a tag, and then the PR request, pull request. Like if I need to review any pull request, it will come into here, pull request. Pipelines, if you go, yeah, this is the pipelines and the release pipelines. So let me not show you this one. Let me show the I think the release strategy, where we'll see the entire pipeline which is already configured. Release pipelines, when you see when you go to releases. So this is how we'll create the pipeline. So when it comes to build pipeline, it will come in the pipelines. This is like how it will manage security, run pipeline on all these features. When you go to edit, this is how the typical CI pipeline looks like. This is for the release strategy, and see, this is creating a NuGet storage build solution, and this is taking the Azure repos git like release strategy parts unlimited is a repository name. We is taking master branch and the clean build every time. Like if you want to have a clean build, you can every time if you want to have clean build, then you can mark it as true. and tag resources always. Then you have to implement tags also. Once you do that, so it will create tag of automatically. And then a report build status. Of course, it will report right with the email ID which I've configured. Checkout sub modules, checkout LFS. LFS is what, when selected, the build agent will be prepared for fetching and checking out Git LFS tracking files. So you can see more information which are captured here. So this is the one. Then the shallow fetch. All these things are configured, and then NuGet restore, build solution, and copy files. So this is so remember guys, these are the, this is the job run on agent, and these are the stages. These are the job, these are the task. This is the job phase one, which can be renamed, and these are the tasks which I'm asking them to perform. The build, copy files, and the publish artifacts is publishing in the drop location. And Azure pipelines, you can also configure a file share also. Yeah, that you want to configure a file share also, that can also be done here. So this is all about publishing artifacts. And then when you go to releases, right? So this is the let me go to a canary deployment I might have done some months back. So this is just to show you, based on the artifact which is published from CI pipelines. This is how it will be shown here, and the variables. These are the pipelines variables. These is the, I think these are the release variables. We have pipeline variables also, and we have a uh, release variables also. So this is the release variables, or you can also mention the pipeline variable. So you can search about it. Uh, Types of variables in Azure DevOps. You have predefined variables, and you have pipeline variables. And I think use predefined variables. So using predefined variables, use runtime understanding as your DevOps variable. I think. So you need to read about it. What it is all about, understanding DevOps variable complete guide. So the script variable, environment variable. Just read about this. Like there are different ways of defining a variable. Like there are different ways of defining a variable, and this is how you will define the variable. And resource group is ASP.ADO.NET, which are configured server name, website name, and pipelines is the this thing. And see, this is now green side is a consider this as stage and this as production. Now these is called pre-deployment approval. So like there are two things: pre-deployment or post-deployment approvals and release gates. So like pre-deployment or post-deployment will be a manual one, which where you have to define the approver or not approver release a manual one. The other could be a gated approvals, where it will won't push the build or won't pass the build if the failed request is greater than a number of amount. So see, this is called the pre-deployment approval. And when you go to the this thing, right? So pre-deployment conditions are there. So this star means like whenever an artifact is generated, then it will automatically trigger the build. This is the some of the things which you need to check. So if there is see, this is what I was referring to. So consider this as stage and this as production. Then after the artifact is deployed, so this star means whenever when I disable when I do this, if I disable this, right, no build will be triggered, even if I have a new repository from a CI pipeline. So when you, the moment you enable it, then only you click on save, and then only the star sign will come. Means whenever a new artifact is available, then this pipeline will be triggered, right? So this is the phase of like how the CI pipelines behave, right? And then this is the pre-deployment condition. Like after the release, what should do pre-deployment approvals and the release gates, which we will see in a while. So this is typical the green site Azure deployment, which we configure, and we so this whatever you are seeing, you have to configure these pipelines. So like the subscription which you have to select, and the actions, locations, and linked artifact, or it could be a URL of the file. A linked artifact could be ARM template also, the JSON file, which is the ARM template, which is configured. So it whatever is there in the linked artifact in the repository, this is how the in the template it's in the repository. It's in the parts unlimited, env parts unlimited templates, and then this JSON file is there. And this is the web app which it will deploy, and this is the slot. In the web app we have slots, right? We have slots like staging slot or what slot, what not. So you can just configure those things. So when you go to this, so this is what you see is a pre-deployment. When you configure this, see this is for the when you go to production, before production. This is the if you go to, let me go to edit pipeline, right? Then only I can show this thing. So see here, one job, one task. So this is now this is before production. This is how approvers, manual approver. Either you can add a manual approver or you configure gates. So gates, like if you enable it, so there are for different kinds of gates. There are four types of gates: invoke Azure function, query monitor alerts, invoke REST API, work query work items. Like Azure function will trigger execution of Azure function and ensure completion. And then query observe the configured Azure monitor alert rules for active alerts. Invoke is like making a call to REST API and continue if it runs successful response. Query work items like when you meet a particular threshold. For example, you put a condition, if if you have even having one single error in your build, then this build should not pass to production. So there is where you can add these deployment gates. So functions, REST API, query monitors, and work items. These are the couple of quality gates which you can configure, and like you can configure to add the gates that evaluate the health parameters that are periodically reevaluated in parallel. When all gates succeed for success coordination, the deployment will proceed. If this does not occur before timeout, the deployment is rejected. This is the difference between the. Just read about it. What is the difference about pre-deployment approvals and post-deployment approvals, and the gates, release gates. So I was just trying to configure one of the scenario where this is the scenario which I think yeah, controlling deployment using release gates. So what it does is like yes, these are things which I've configured. Environment specific, yes, let me show you the environment which I've configured just to show how it works. Yeah, so this is a configured with the shell.azure, the shell commands. You can either have a Azure CLI installed or shell.azure.com to configure your infrastructure. This is I'm all showing manually. Infrastructure, the Terraform one you can configure these infrastructure automatically, but when you configure manually, then you do with this shell.azure.com or Azure CLI. So this is how the entire infrastructure which I have provisioned, and this is like the resource group which I have created, the app service plan with the S1 is the SKU which I've selected, and then deployed two web apps on top of this application app service. So this is the app service which I have created. Resource group I won't be able to cover. It's a basic thing. I think release gates RG which I've just created, and let me go to the apps. So I have configured two apps here. Canary D and prod D. And then when you go for scale up, if you want to scale up your for dev test, these are the SKUs available. Dev test, these are SKUs available. You can start with F1, D1 or B1 when you are starting to configure a web app, to host a web app on the. So app service plan is the base where we have to configure to the app plans. So this is like the F1 D1 basic SKUs which are select production is like I've selected S1 SKU, right? So this is these are the two web apps. The Canary deployment CD, like this is one of the application which is running, and the other is web app is the prod D which is running, right? So this is the other one which is running, and if I want to stop, I can stop it, and so that's how it's been configured. I have not deployed any application as of now, but yes, we will be doing it. So configuration. Let me go to configuration and see. So I think I'm not deployed it, but because I've not run that deployment as of now, so go to configure. So as of now, the node version can be. I think I have to deploy this. I will see when we do this, what more parameters will come. So this is what is this? This is also a web test alert which has been configured. Availability test results which have been configured. So, and this is the what I have done is I've created application insights, right? So after this configuring the web apps, I have configured application insights from the Canary deployment itself, and I have also set up the alerts like if any threshold few alert rules. You go to alert rules. Yeah, so if this is the rule which I've configured, so which I was expecting, this could be, and it is a gate. If the this is altogether a different concept, monitoring concept in the Azure. Like whenever the count request greater than zero, then it should trigger an alert in the application. So this is yeah, this is like I've configured an alert. So apart from that, then once coming to the original thing, the yeah this thing. So I was just going through, and I have configured this let application rule. Whenever the fail request is greater than zero, then it should reject the build. So this is I've just created this one, and you can configure multiple alerts to due to this. I think I have just pasted it, but if not, let me paste it again. So this is the for a demonstration of release gates. This is the one component which I'm just trying to show it. Exercise one is like configuring the release pipeline. Like do a configure and you go to the I think I've configured that one as well. Let me show the uh, hold on. So release gates demo, yeah. So this is I think well, already will go to pipelines. When you go to the CI, just configured, run it once, and you go to releases. I think this has been already done. So, but yes, this is how I have done it actually. When you go to the edit pipelines, right? Edit pipelines. So this is we have configured these things where we have Azure subscription, which has been like running on the Azure pipelines, Windows 2019. Different versions are there for the like agent tools which it can be run, like including Ubuntu, Windows, Ubuntu, Mac, and enable continuous monitoring. So see this one which I was showing you. This is service connection. Service connection needs to enable. So now your DevOps needs to talk to the Azure portal, right, where you deploy the services. This is use comes the service connection part. Like it's at the project level service connection. So this is like when you want to authenticate your releases to the Azure portal, like the infrastructure, then you need to have some communication established, right? That is happening through service connection. So this is I've just configured and then deployed it. And this is just a parameter which you have to enable it. authorized it, which are already done. So enable like action is like enable or start swap. Azure app manage service, this is the automatic task, because the definition of the release was automatically created with this template which I have just pinged. So it's enabling the continuous monitoring with the CD is the this is the application inside which are configured. Like I want to show that condition, if that greater than zero, then it won't trigger the build. So this is how it's just configured now. Once you have done this, I think this is configured. This is done now. This authorized it, and this is the steps which I followed and configured production environment as well. It's run. So now it have been run. So it has been release will taken automatically and browse the website where the after the application is deployed. So you can browse the website. I think you can deploy the I think can be D. Let me see the website. It has been configured. Yeah. So this is the for the Candy D. This is for the prod D. So you see the URLs are different. Prod D Azure website.net, and this is for Candy Azure website.net. This is the two sites which have been deployed, right? This is the sample websites which have been deployed. Now we have a CI/CD configured in the steps. We'll configure the gates. So then they have edited and configured the gates. Like if the pre-development condition, add yourself as a prover for the lab purpose. So you can configure the pre-deployment gates like for as mentioned in this one. We can when we go to candy deployment. So when I approve it, then only it will go. So let me add it myself in the release gates. I can add myself as a pre-deployment approver, right? We can just save it. Yeah, I think once it's done, I've enabled it. Gate also in the same plane, we need to enable gates as well. So when you enable gates, this is I think we configured if you see that we have configured the add query items like in the similar get query items. Select bugs and shared queries in the select as a maximum value is set to zero. This query returns any active bug work item. The release gate will fail. So see, I will show you. There is a one bug which has been created. Release gates demo. So yeah, let me go to release gates demo. So why we are passing this? Because if you go to boards, there is already one bug. Disk out of workspace. I think this is a bug, right? So we'll add this, like we will add this and making interesting. Like if you have a query work items, if if the query in the shared queries bugs, right? If upper threshold, if your bugs is greater than zero, then it won't push the build. So this is just bug because we have already one bug which is there, right? So we'll just and successful on select on successful gates ask for approval radiation button. So this is like bug should be greater than zero, and then these are the pre-deployment conditions which we are just trying to push and set the evaluation options. These are different, like day before evaluation, and advance is you configure the lower threshold and deployment queue. So if the a bug is greater than one, greater than zero, then it won't trigger the build. So we'll just save it. The version between the re-evaluation of gates. So just configuring the values as per the mention in the Microsoft documentation. So means like this is what the time between re-evaluation of gates. The duration after which the gates are re-evaluated, this must be greater than the longest typical response of the configured gates. This is the time like minimum duration. Timeout after which fails is the deployment will be rejected if the timer is reached before gate succeeded. This is how we configure the release gates. On the successful gates, ask for approval. So I think we can save it and enable post deployment gates. So we can save it now. I think yeah. So pre-deployment now we'll configure the post-deployment conditions. In post-deployment conditions, it has added enable gates and add query monitor to alerts. Again, I think we need to uh, it will be passed see the no candy deployment will be passed to production only when the number of you see the failed request is greater than zero. We'll put that condition. It will fail. Obviously, it will fail, right? Because that condition which is passed like bugs, it said that should not be greater than zero, but if there is one bug, right? And then post deployment condition also will add this, like they will add the deployment gate, it won't pass to the production, and what it will do is query work monitor, and then I will link my alert which I created. If you see the alert which is I created, I think I've shown. Let me show it again. Yeah, this is the application insights. You go to alerts, alert rules. This is the one which I created, right? Whenever the fail count of the failed request greater than zero, right? Then it won't pass the build. It will fail in the first instance, and the post deployment approval will make sure the build is not promoted to production. So this is how it will do. I have to link my this thing, right? My the alert rule. So what it says, the resource group. Resource group is deployed in the lease gates resource group, and I think that's it. We have to save it. It will make sure that it won't push to production. So because this has already will fail the condition, and then update the details from drop down, and then I think expand the evaluation options. I don't know why it's going to the evaluation options. Probably it's trying to reduce the time gate fails. like save and then update and deploy the applications. So after adding release, so I think now it's trying to do some errors so that like when it trigger the changes, right, so it won't pass to the production. So that's why it's asking me to go to the files and then go to the repos source parts and everything. So it's trying to Reddit website. So views homes. It try to we are trying to intentionally make some changes so that it won't because we will make some errors and then this won't be promoted to production. That's why what the this thing comes index or HTML modify the content to 30 from 20 so that it will trigger the build. So just asking to just trigger the build cannot. Okay. This I have just changed it so that and then commit the changes and after that it will trigger. This is the only branch which I've just committed, and I think this will now will go to. So this is like this will trigger the CI pipeline, and then I think it's triggered the YAML one, and then when it goes to the release one, and then we will see the query work items. If it is fail, then it won't push to the production. In boards, it will go to bugs, and then we already have one bugs. I just showed you because you will see a bug with a new state as the team has fixed that is. It will like when I close it, then this will be passed. We will see those things like. I think it will take some time. Like till the time, I think 1, 2, or 2, 3 minutes. We have any questions, Vishwas? There are so many tabs. Probably I'm not able to view the. Okay. Do we
Yeah,
have any
yeah.
questions?
I don't think there are any questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, this is the worst part about online life, like we want to do something, but network didn't work today. Like I'm sitting in my car in front of my neighbor's home. I'm just fetching some network here. That's it.
Yeah, it's very hectic. I can understand the pain living in Bangalore. The electricity thing,
Yeah, and also
especially.
I'm in a very close environment. I'm sweating.
Oh, probably open the shades, right?
Yeah, yeah. I opened
Better.
the shades, but also it's very bad. Oh, it's
Switch
still
on,
going to
switch on
publish.
the fan in that case. Switch on the fan.
Oh yeah, I should. I'll do it. I'll do it. But like, I'm in
Yeah,
a place,
yeah.
right? So yeah. Oh God,
So
perfect. It's
I think once
everything
it's
is perfect
done,
here.
yeah. So I think it's done. Let me go to the releases. I think this won't. Yeah, this.
I think this won't be a bug now because that was just fully optimized, right?
Yeah.
Let's see the releases. Oh, Canary has also passed.
So this is the previous one, right? Which I think I
Oh,
need
yeah,
to
yeah.
just hold on, just hold on. I have to manually trigger this one. I think run pipeline. Uh, Run it, and then this will trigger. think it should happen fast because there are two parts of it, like the CI with the classic and CI with
Hmm.
the YAML. So I think it automatically triggered the YAML one because I made changes in the repository. It didn't took that one, so I think it should be, yeah, it should be fine. I think resolving and then restoring 2 3 minutes, and then I think release 2 will be created, and then it should not be passed. Like this is the previous release, which is
Yeah, it's 8:54.
yeah. So this is the idea is like I want to show this scenario where it will ask for first of all my approval and
Hmm.
those things, right? So which we configured. So that's what. So releases. Let it complete. Okay, I think electricity.
Yeah, the problem with Bangalore, yeah, same old thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it came up.
Yeah, inverter thing is there, right? So I wish I've tried to cover the basic aspects of it. Even I'm trying to show with one demonstration, and uh, I think I just covered. But
Yeah, I think this has only got streamed in YouTube, restreamed and streamed in LinkedIn.
okay, okay,
So what I'm doing is tomorrow. What I'm doing is I'm changing that to LinkedIn only, like through StreamYard, direct on LinkedIn, no YouTube and LinkedIn.
okay.
So yeah, tomorrow I'll send you the StreamYard link.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Oh god, I think restore has to be triggered
No, I think
to
it should
full.
complete in a few minutes, and then it should show that release thing. Once it's done, probably should be fine.
Actually, partial deploys are also there, right? The concept of already using the pre-built ones are already there, right?
Yeah, this is the one, right? This is the pre-build. You have to configure this project,
Ah, ha, ha, ha.
and then you have to make these changes, which I was doing, and then it's really so. I should see something like pre-deployment gates, like delay,
Hmm.
this query, because it said right, bug should be greater than zero. It should not pass. So there is one bug, right, which is created when we go to bugs. It's in the active state, and see,
Hmm.
whenever if your bug is in active state, your build should not pass promote. Then it will stop the build. Once I manually close it, then it's trying to show here, like once it's closed, it will be green, and then it will be pushed. But then again, it will ask for my approval, manual approval, right? So and then once I prove it, then it will check the query monitor, like the before deploying to production, like if there are any application insights alerts, right? More if you go to any error occur while processing the request, then if you go to this, then this won't be promoted to the production. So this is failed, right? This won't go to production. That's what it will show. This is the
Got it.
motive of it. Yeah. So yeah, so probably if it works, it's okay. Otherwise, just hold on. I think it's going to be done. Yeah. So release. Uh, if not, then this is. Yeah, I think. Yeah. This is. See, query work item has failed. Why? It will query work item is failed. Why? Because if you go to more actions, another color processing the request inner exception, right? For 404 remote server terminal and 404 not found. And a query work items, there is when you go to work items now, when you go to the work items, when we said right, there should be no bug. So it's unassigned right now. So it's in active state. New, you go to active, save it. When we close it, this will pass. Go to releases. See, it's trying to run next in 4 minutes delay. So in next in 4 minutes it should pass. So processing gates it has closed. So this was not coming earlier. So now I think query work items when it will query, we won't have any bug right now. Now it's processing the gates, but it will take a delay of 5 minutes. Next in 4 minutes. So once it checks the now, it my this thing this bug is not there now, right? We just closed it. When we go to the boards and we again re-verify, there is nothing. So now it should pass and eventually trigger the release. This is how the actual scenario the gates works. So next in 4 minutes, like it's a delay of minimum 5 minutes, which we have to keep. I can't help. So yeah. So I think we can ignore gates also, but this will dissolve the purpose. So that's how it will look like. I think it will take another 10-15 minutes, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it will take a little bit of time because it's showing 2 minutes 24 minutes 26 27 seconds, so it will take a little bit of
Hmm.
time to get
Even
triggered.
if even if we ignore gates, I think it will push to the next course of action, which is my approval, right? If I ignore gates, uh, yeah.
Yeah, limited time. Yeah.
Let us see now what happens. I think this should process in 2 minutes. It's saying 2 minutes, so it has to wait for 2 minutes or what? Uh, so this is the minimum viable time. It's there so that you configure the gates. 4 minutes, I think some seconds to go, and then it should ask for my approval to process. And I think that's what it is like. It's what I wanted to show. Even if like we could have not ignored it, but since we have closed the bug, it will process it. So this gate
Yeah.
evaluation is a time window which we can't skip this. But yeah, because the next will happen in less than 1 minute. I think 10 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then let's see. Get ignored. See, now it's asking for my approval, right? Which I configured, like the pre-deployment approval. So it's asking for my approval. So once I approve it, I can reject also. I can reject also. So once I approve it,
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is the governance part of it, right? This is
yeah,
what
this
the
is the
governance is all
governance
about.
part of it. How we can control the release gates and the
Yeah.
difference between the pre and post approvals, manual approvals, and the gates. We saw both the things here, right? So uh, this is how I think it's been deployed. Hmm, I think here again it should error out because I think. Hmm, Let me go. When you go to the, it says that when you go to the website of Canary, right? I think I should have more. This should have been failed because I didn't click at that time, right? So when you click on more, this is an error which is getting displayed. So this is a pre-configured site. So next in 30 minutes. So I think we can safely end up this session. So this is the final validation, right? Where we'll go to if any errors are there. We should have done that that time. So like more, when you go to more, it will application error, right? This will if there is an error, will you configure? So the C error occurred, right? So when you go to this one, so what the condition we have put there? If you see, if this error should be greater than zero, right? Yeah, well, even if one error, then it won't process the build actually. So let us go to the, yeah. Let us refresh it. I think we got one error, right? Which when we clicked on it in the canary. So I think it will take some time to reflect here, but so if you see this will be triggered. So like it will fail in the next run. It will fail. That is the next run in 30 minutes. Sorry about that, but it is not. It was not taking earlier value. So I think this will take time, Vishwas. So I think we can. But the idea is the same, which I've just shown. At least I've covered the
Yeah.
idea. So I think that's it from my end, Vishwas.
Yeah, I think sure, folks. So tomorrow the stream will happen on LinkedIn. So everything will be on LinkedIn itself. So it will not happen on YouTube. So I'll make sure that the stream will go back to LinkedIn somehow. So yeah, I'll post it out there. So do check it out and also do join our other sessions. And sorry for today's inconvenience. We all never didn't know that this will be a chaotic day for me today. Like I lost a lot of my premium accounts. A lot of things happened today. So I think Tarun sir, thank you so much for being part of the stream. It means a lot when you give out such great piece of knowledge to all of us. We all have a lot of learning. I think best of the best. We just can do whatever we can do. So yeah, I think thank you so much, Tarun sir. I think I'll call
Thank
you
you.
tomorrow morning. Okay.
Yeah,
Out of the network, out of the everything. So I'll
sure.
call you tomorrow morning. Fine.
Sure, Vishwas. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank
Bye
you.
then.